So there are often some basic similarities when you're tracking sites, like conversion rate, time on page, events, button clicks. Like that's kind of like a universal experience for tracking. But how do you approach visualizing data for each site? Like, do you have some go-tos, or is each one like a new custom thing that you do?
Sure. Well, to kind of hark on what we were talking about earlier, it really always comes down to what the audience is going to need. So if you're working with a client, whether you're working in an agency or you're working freelance, or whether you're working with just your CMO and you're doing this, like, I wouldn't take anything that I've previously done.
Mm-hmm.
I would look at it and be like, Jordan, you did such a good job. But I wouldn't actually use all of that. It's like, because everyone has something different that they need. But I'd say some things that do stay steady are using the colors and the graphics and the fonts that your audience, your C-levels, your stakeholders are going to want. So that's something that I always hold on to. It's and then you build up a portfolio. It's nice. Like, you should be proud of your work. It's not always easy to do. I think anyone who's doing this should be proud of it and keep it in their portfolio. And, even if you're looking back and be like, that one sucked, it's like, yeah, but you were learning and the tools were changing. And it shows that you're able to accommodate and make sure that you're answering the questions that need to be answered. So that's, and I also look at other templatized dashboards. So if someone, and I would look at it industry based. So if someone's like, all right, well, I'm in this industry that you've never worked in before, I need this dashboard. I might go, okay, well, here are the things that they need and want, but how do I make it shine the way this particular industry, whether it's a fashion industry, whether it's healthcare, whether it is, CPG, and like, it doesn't matter. You need to, like, I like to have ideas. I like to, they're the ones who are probably influencing it more than my past stuff, because my past stuff is specific to what those people actually need.
Yeah. What do you think are the key elements for making a marketing dashboard effective?
Sure. Again, another wonderful question. One thing that we haven't touched on yet is that you don't want to recreate a dashboard of things that your audience can already see in the analytics tool. There's no point in that. Don't recreate something that they can already see in Salesforce, in Google Analytics, in Adobe. Like, you don't want to just recreate it, because what's the point? Now, that said, if your stakeholder doesn't understand that is what you're supposed to be doing, is just putting what they need, they might get frustrated, or they'll think, well, this is great, I need to know more. Where's more? Where's more?
Yeah.
That sometimes can happen. So if you do a really good job, you're either going to satisfy what they need, or they're going to want a lot more. And it's hard to know. It's hard to tell yourself you did a good job if there's two very different outcomes. So if someone wants to know more, one thing I like to do, put a link to it. Your dashboard's going to have a space for it. Just put a link. Hey, if you would like to know more, here's this. And your audience, you should always think, do they have access to it?
Yeah.
And you can have a tooltip, you can have other things to gain access, blah, 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 blah. Email this person, whatever it is. You're basically creating your own environment that you need to think about user experience the whole time. And I was very lucky to work in the agency in New Hampshire, where I worked with user experience groups, heuristics. I did my own case study stuff for or studies, and help some other people with like Duracell and like different US bank, like lots of different clients. And it was like, understanding how users behave is paramount, not just in web development, but in things like dashboards.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That was like, because I do design, I do UX too. Like at first, immediately when you were like, link it, I'm like, but what if they don't have access? And you were like, I've got that taken care of. You've thought of it all.
I know all the things that people are gonna come back with, and it's and most of them feel kind of weird about it. They're like, oh shoot, I don't know this. How many times has anyone had someone say, oh, I can't get access to this because I don't have a Google account. And you're like, okay, well, here's how you do it. You use your email and get a Google account. Can you walk me through? Yeah, there's 3 screenshots. Here you go. Like, and they're like, we still don't know. All right, get me on the phone. Like, it shouldn't be that hard, but it can be for a lot of people. And that's okay. That gives you a leg up if you know this stuff and you can accommodate.
Yeah. It's just like experience. You will also just like you'll learn all the things that you need to add like automatically. It just becomes second nature.
Yeah, and that's the whole part of a user experience, right? Like, it's not just about understanding user experience on a screen, but how people interact. And yeah, that's definitely part of it.